Why do we talk about complementary colours on the colour wheel, and what can they do for your painting? Hi, I'm Jackie Smurden, this is Dunnock Studio, and today we're going to look at how the colours on the wheel work in opposition to each other and why that can make your paintings more interesting. You will probably have heard me or other artists talking about complementary colours, colours opposite each other on the colour wheel. If you have a colour wheel, flip it over. Find your pure colour. Let's go for green. Follow the arrow in the middle, which says complementary right there, and it will show you the exact opposite is red. So green and red are opposites on the colour wheel. Another way to look at it is blue and yellow make green. So there's two colours in there, and the opposite is the other primary colour, red. So you've got 1, 2, 3 primaries mixing together. Now, we did a previous video where mixing 3 primaries creates mud or muddy colours or greys. Where in this way of painting is if you keep the colours separate, 2 primaries there, 1 primary there, they whiz off of each other. And what do I mean by that? Here is a red square on a green background. I shall try and take a picture so I can pop this on the screen for you, but equally this should work. If you stare at that image, stare at the red square for a few seconds, absorb all that colour, then shut your eyes, wait, and you should see a small green square inside a red square when you have your eyes shut. Your brain processes these two complementary colours the opposite way inside your brain. Who knows why? I'm sure there are numerous scientific studies on this, but this is an art channel, so we won't go there. So give that a try. Pause the video. If you're not sure, just keep your eyes shut for a little bit longer and see if the small red square changes to green. Let's switch it out now. Let's have a red square with a green square in the middle. So let your eyes get adjusted. Stare at the little green square for a few seconds. Shut your eyes, keep your eyes shut, and you should see a small red square in a green square. It may not work for you, it's well worth a go, and be patient. Sometimes it takes longer for one person to see this after image. It's the after image that you're holding in your brain, which is the reverse colours. So this is an interesting one. If you ever tried to read red lettering on a green background, it really makes your eyes go very strange. So the same would apply to green writing on a red background. If you look at adverts, etc., they very rarely put these colours together because you can't see them well because they're just zinging everywhere. Okay, so red and green are an absolute classic standard, but it doesn't mean to say they have to be exactly the same as that. So here's a red and green, but this one is a dulled down green and a dulled down red. So essentially you have pink with a soft muted green background. So let's say you were painting pink roses in a vase, a nice soft green background would give you the same effect as that bright green and red, just in a more subtle version. If you try the after effect with this one, you might not get quite such a dramatic difference afterwards with your eyes. So again, with the red background and the green square, this can also work this way. Your red becomes pink because it's either more watery with watercolor or it's had white added to it as a tint for acrylics and oils. The green can be more muted, still a red and green image. So this would also work really nicely. Something in your painting is green with a nice soft pink focus around it. So nice colour mixes, but not too harsh, much more subdued. More likely to have these on your wall, aren't you? Going back to the red square on a green background, here's a red square on an orange background. Now you may or may not notice that the red in each square is exactly the same red. It's the same tone, it's the same colour. But on this one it looks brighter than on this one. This is because the complementary colour is helping to set this one off. This one, the orange, is harmonious. It's very close to the red on the colour wheel. So red is here and we're in sort of orange to red orange section. Because it's close to it, there's not so much of a difference, so the red square doesn't stand out quite as well as it does on the green square. So if you want your paintings to be calm and quiet, having colours all together on one side of the wheel can make your paintings calm and relaxing to look at, rather than striking and full of tension, as in with this one. Here is another complementary pair. So we have orange. The swing we know what it is because we've already done this so many times. But there's the blue. So complementary to the orange. Orange and blue. You might want to give that a try. See what your after image is like. That one could take a little bit longer, a few seconds of you holding your eyes closed for that image to appear, but it's well worth a look. Red on blue is not so bright as orange on blue. The red is close to orange, so it gives a little bit of a zing, but not quite as much as the orange. So using a red is using what we call a split complementary. It's just split off of the centre one. So we've got the orange up here, directly opposite is blue, here to here. So if we use a red, the direct opposite has moved around here one or two phases around the colour wheel. So it's not a direct opposite, but it still gives a little bit of interest. The red is not quite as zingy as the orange, but nevertheless it stands out quite well because it's a warm colour on a cool colour. Again, colours do not have to be super bright for this to work. Here's your original orange on top of blue, and here's orange on top of blue. And then this is an orange. This is like a raw sienna colour, which is a muted, softer orange. And they both work really well against the blue. Think of a seascape, sandy colour with a sea colour or a sky colour, for instance. So this is a subtle version of using the bright orange and bright blue. So complementary colours can really help you to bring your paintings alive. The best way to use a complement is to have one area of interest or one focal area that has the brightest colour, and then everything else harmonious and soft around it. So your attention is drawn to here or here or here. You get the idea. Another thing to think about colour is it's relative to what it's next to. So here we have a black surround and a white surround. Which one of those greens do you think is brighter than the other? Interesting one. You may have noticed they're both exactly the same, but the one that's set with the black around it appears to be much lighter than the one with the white around it, but they are identical. I can show you the line of paint. Here's the same thing in effect with orange. Do you think one is brighter than the other? You now know that the orange is most likely exactly the same, but look how different they are with a different background. So this shows you how much value or tone affects your colours in your painting. If you want to set off a lovely bright colour, sometimes it needs a different tone behind it. So if you haven't already, grab your colour wheel, throw it over and have a little look on the back and see what's on here. It gives you all sorts of ideas. It gives you where your direct complement is, and where your split complements are, and where your triads are. And then there's 4 colours, which get slightly more complicated. With the complementaries, if you avoid the direct complement of primaries, which is green, yellow and blue with red, or also we looked at orange, which is red and yellow with blue. If you go round and pick something a little more subtle, so your complement to a bluey green is a red orange. And how many paintings have you seen where there's some beautiful turquoises and then some rusty reds? Quite a few, because it's a real subtle combination. It still works, but it's not quite as obvious as red and green. It's an orange red and a blue green. So do try going slightly off the primaries and using the secondary colours to give you much more interesting mixes. So your secondary colours and your tertiary colours. So a blue violet, for instance, I love this mixture, goes with a lovely yellow orange. But as we said before, if you go slightly off the complement, you split it either there or there, you can still get interesting effects working with your main highlight colour. Or you could reverse that. Your main highlight colour could become the yellow orange, and these become your supporting colours, if you like. So think about setting your colour palette as the characters in a play. There'll be a lead role and the rest are complementary. They're in the background, they support the lead role. You don't want everything equal. So after you've gone cross-eyed looking at all those colours, maybe you can understand now why certain colours on a colour wheel that are opposite each other will give that lovely zing to your paintings. You don't want to overdo this, because you can end up with a painting you can't actually look at because it makes your eyes go funny. But if you use it in moderation, it can really bring your paintings to life. I'll hopefully see you on the next video. If you like this video, please give me a like or a comment please down below. It'd be absolutely lovely to hear from you. See you all soon on the next video. Happy painting. Bye for now.